It's time for the Las Vegas Sportsline.
Money won is twice as sweet as money earned.
And here we go with the Friday edition of the Las Vegas Sportsline. Teddy Covers is here. Jared Justice is our producer. I'm Dave Koken. Nice to have you with us. It is the midway point of the baseball season. We're just about, for everybody, at right around 81 games. So a perfect day, Teddy, to kind of run through all 30 teams, where they are, betting perspective on the teams, how we think they need to approach the second half, what they might be doing in terms of trading or selling. Should be a fun show.
Yeah, a baseball-centric show is perfect for a day in late June like this is, Dave. So let's get to it.
And it'll give me a chance to keep one eye on the PGA tournament because I've got Hideki Matsuyama at 12-1 and Joaquin Niemann at 40-1. And as the second round draws toward a close, they are each in the top 10. In fact, one is in the top 5, so I'm going to be live going into Saturday at least.
Yeah, but there's something that I find thoroughly enjoying about watching you sweating golf on a Friday and watching you, like, swearing. It's early.
I didn't swear at all. My guys are
making
shots.
Not on air, you didn't.
No, my guys are making shots. I haven't had anything to swear about. But everything, even though I don't bet on everything, and I did bet on the golf, but, for instance, I don't have any bets on the Democratic primary.
Yeah.
Or the debates or anything like that. But I handicap everything. I don't really listen to what they're saying in terms of, pardon my disdain for politicians, but I really don't care what they say because they don't follow through on it anyway. They're politicians. But I watch the two debates to try and gauge the direction. All right, who's the favorite here? Is there going to be some value? And at faraway places, you can bet on this stuff.
Sure. I know someone that made quite a bit of money on Obama as a relative long shot.
I know somebody
this stage of the process.
I know somebody who took Trump at like 48-1 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Did rather well with that bet.
Sure. So I mean, I know we want to talk baseball, but if you watch the Democratic primaries the last two nights, who's your money on?
Well, okay, I was on VEASAN this morning with Mitch Howard, Mitch Morse and Paulie Howard, and I don't remember what the opening line was, but I said I'm glad I don't have any futures on Beto. It wasn't a good debate for Beto.
No,
he's probably off the list of serious contenders.
He was off the list of serious contenders.
Well, he was a lower. He was in the upper tier, at the bottom of the upper tier. I broke it down at the tiers. And he was in the bottom of the upper tier.
Okay. You had him ranked higher than I did.
Well, he's no longer, he sunk to the lower tier now.
Yeah.
Andrew Yang was invisible last night, so he is, see ya. I have no idea who this woman is.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I don't know.
But half the field is we have no idea who they are. I don't want to know who's bad. Everyone's bad. Who's good?
The author of the whatever, she's an author and she's promoting a love platform.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
She spiked in Google search last night because no one had ever heard of her.
Right. Who went up? Castro went way up. Way up. He was, from what I could see, I think he made the most progress of anybody in the 2 days. And Harris got a big bump last night, although she was kind of one note. And it was one big hit, and she didn't have much to say on climate change and stuff like that, so I don't know. I think I moved her into the middle of the top tier. I think Biden's lead is dicey at this point, and I think Bernie's better days have. Bernie's on the. He peaked in 2016.
Sure. I'm with you on Biden and Bernie both having problems with the broader Democratic electorate. That being said, with all of this, what do you make the number? Because the market's still.
I think Biden is still the favorite, but
I'm talking about Democratic contender versus Trump.
Oh, I haven't even begun to consider that.
Sure.
Because there's only one side to fool around with right now. Trump is obviously getting the Republican nomination.
Yes.
We know that. So it's too far down the road. I've got to see who comes out of the Democratic side. From a handicapping standpoint, I would say this. If Biden or Bernie were to get the nomination, I would have no problem whatsoever putting my money down on Trump and feeling very good about my chances of cashing. I don't think either one of them could beat him. somebody, it could be similar to 2016 on the Republican side, where Trump, he started off nowhere. I mean, he was not even, he was in the lower tier. Well, he was like 16th on the Republican board to begin with.
Sure, the markets completely, the betting markets, they completely devalue Trump because he's of the fact that he was not a politician and everyone else was a politician of some sort. So even though he was leading in the popular polls, the betting market said he had no chance.
Right. And
right through to election night.
He rode tremendous momentum and built on it. It was a brilliant campaign. Okay, it remains to be seen whether somebody on the Democratic side is able to get that kind of a surge where they really peak at the right time as far as the primaries are concerned. And if they do that, and they can ride a tidal wave, and who knows what happens at that point. So, but I have no idea who that's going to be, if there's going to be anybody. So it's tough to make a projection.
So, but at this stage of the game, Trump is chalk for 2020.
Oh, yeah, there's no question about it. I know the Democrats don't want to hear that, but
he's the chalk.
Sorry, that's the way it is.
Yeah. So you handicap everything. I make over-unders for everything. I go to the grocery store, and I'm like, all right, over-under, 138.5. I mean, at the restaurant, I do it. I do it literally for everything that I do, and it's just intrinsic. It's ingrained. I don't even think about it. You just So I feel your pain.
No, it's fun, and I don't have anything riding on the, and I don't know that I will have anything riding on the elections. And I know some people, God, you guys are degenerates.
It's a market, and when there's a market, if there's an edge, if you feel like you have an edge, you're allowed to take advantage of that edge. That's what we do.
It's like betting the CFL. I know a lot of people don't pay attention to the Canadian Football League. I think I've got an edge. I lost last night, despite the fact that my team completely dominated the game, but that's the way it goes. But there's an edge to be had. So what do I care what it is? Okay. Anyway.
Well, that's what. But that is legitimately our job. What's our job? Our job is to find little edges, and little edges over time, will produce a profit.
Right. And our job is not to go out there and hype and say, we've got a monster edge in this game. Vegas got it all wrong. No. Okay. All right. Anyway, let's talk about some actual games. We're going to get to all the teams, but first we will start by doing today's MJ Christensen Friday edition of the 4 at 4.
1, 2, 3 into the 4.
Put the fours up. Put the fours up, I said. Do it right now.
Tonight's action is just around the bend, and the guys want to get your night off to a great start.
4.
It's the Las Vegas Sports Line's 4 at 4.
Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. Unbelievable.
Okay, so let's start off with the Cubs and Reds. And life has been good for Cole Hamels since he got traded to the Chicago Cubs. And he's pitching very well right now. He'll go against the Reds tonight, and I guess you could say somewhat inconsistent Sonny Gray. I'm seeing some Cubs support that has shown up this afternoon. I haven't checked the number in a little bit, but I think you can make a case for them. The Reds have stopped hitting again. Hamels doesn't have great metrics on the road. In fact, if you're looking at, this is where it gets interesting. If you're looking at game scores, Hamels definitely has an edge over Sonny Gray. If you're looking at some of the key metrics, xFIP, FIP, Sierra, Gray actually has an edge, especially with the home road factored in, over Hamels. So to me, the pitching came out fairly even in this one, and I just looked at offense, and that aspect would favor the Cubs.
Yeah, sure. Well, especially with Hayward hitting. I mean, Hayward's been such a non-factor for them offensively, and he's been, on fire for the last week and a half. And all of a sudden, the Cubs offense that, hasn't necessarily lived up to full expectations this season, it's showing signs. And when you say, all right, the Cubs' bats are coming to life, here's Sonny Gray. Let's see, he gave up 2 dingers last time. Yep. He gave up 2 dingers the start before that. He gave up 2 dingers in his lone previous start against the Cubs this season. And here's a Reds team their pitching has been dynamite. They've been the only under team in baseball all year. They can't hit. And it's not getting better. This is a huge series for Cincinnati. It's a huge homestand for the Reds between now and the All-Star break. What are they, 6 games under 500 right now? And they're still talking about contending and making moves to contend and all of that. But if they have a bad homestand here, they'll be sellers, not buyers.
Let's look at the Braves and Mets, and the market has spoken loudly on this one this morning.
Of course it did.
And that stands to reason, because Jacob deGrom is a go-with pitcher as far as the market is concerned whenever there's a reasonable price involved. So you're looking at like a 25-cent rise from where it opened to where it is. This is where I get away from the numbers, guys. And I didn't play this game, but boy, I sure took a long look at playing the Braves. It's a recency sport to me, and you have to, with all due respect to deGrom, he's one of 25 guys, and the other 24 on the Mets pretty much suck. And that's kind of a joke. I mean, they've got some good ball players, obviously, but none of them are relief pitchers. And yesterday was a really bad loss for the Mets because first time all year they come back from a deficit to take a lead in the ninth inning, and then they blow it with a 5-run ninth by the Phillies against Edwin Diaz, who is not turning out to be a good investment thus far, which is why you shouldn't spend big money on closers, by the way. I can't lay a price with the Mets. Can't do it.
I wouldn't even think about it, and at the same time, we do the Joe's Angle of the day. We'll talk about that. That'll point to this game later in the show. But when you have a multi-run lead, 5 games in a row, and you lose all 5 of those games, it's pretty well demoralizing. And you have a manager that's under fire. And look, I mean, there's no question that deGrom has the capacity to come in and dominate any lineup that he faces on any given day. And this is a day that the Mets need a complete game shutout from their erstwhile ace. But Atlanta's a lot better than the Mets, and Soroka's been excellent. Nothing but excellent all season long. I could only look at the Braves at the plus price. But we know what the markets do. That's why I'm saying, of course they did. Of course they're betting deGrom. Because the stats say you're supposed to be betting deGrom. The metrics say it. Okay.
At Petco, the Padres come back home after playing well on the road and doing a good job at Baltimore, taking care of business against the Orioles. They'll face the Cardinals tonight. Michael Wacha on the mound for St. Louis. Some positive signs for the Cardinals right-hander. 2 of his last 3 starts have been pretty effective. He was briefly banished to the bullpen. He'd been pitching so badly. He had a bad bullpen appearance, then a very good one. They put him back in the rotation, and 2 of his 3 starts since returning have been positive. The one in between was not so good. San Diego will counter with Lauer, who's probably their back in the rotation guy, but he's not the worst guy in the world, and he has reasonably good numbers at home. Padres appear to be in better form than the Cardinals right now. I thought this was a little bit cheap at basically 115, 120 neighborhood. I made the Padres a little higher.
I thought so too, but last time that we were talking about Wacha on the show last week, I'm like, he had a good outing and a bad outing after coming out of the bullpen. And you were like, yeah, well, he had the one good outing, but. And I'm like, there was a quote that I read where his confidence and he figured out something in his mechanics, and he came out last time and he was really good again, he shut down an Angels team that's been hitting very well lately.
Yep, he did. And we'll point out the Angels squandered a really good scoring chance early in that game, and you never know what might have happened had they taken advantage of it, and then he really settled in.
Sure. So he's just not someone. He's got a good track record at Petco, good track record against current Padres. I lean San Diego, but Wacha is one of these. When he's on, he can be really good, and there's a chance he'll be on tonight. Obviously, I think a better chance than. And the walks are down as well.
Yes, that's important. Got to throw strikes. Rangers and Rays matchup. Lance Lynn on the mound for Texas. He is having a very good season. He's not their ace. That's Mike Minor. But Lynn has been a really good number 2 for the Rangers. Yanni Chirinos will go for the Rays, who finally won a game yesterday. They've been struggling lately, but it took them 2 full games to do it. Was it 17 or 18 innings? I forget which.
18.
It was 2 full games. So you got to wonder about their energy level for tonight's game. Tampa's not hitting right now. They did have a 3-run outburst to get to 5 yesterday in the 18th inning, but they went 17 innings or 16 innings without scoring in that game because the 2 runs for them had come early. They're not playing very good ball right now. The Rangers are. This line's been coming down all day, and I don't disagree with that. I think the value was strongly with Texas early, and while that word value can't be used anymore because the price has dropped from where it was, they still look like the right side.
Yeah, I don't want Tampa. I mean, when you talk about a miserable spot, let's see. You go 3-7 on your road trip. You finally win in 18 innings yesterday, but you use 16 innings of bullpen in yesterday's game, and today's a bullpen game. And there